Hi YouTube, this is Evie. Welcome back to my channel, and today I have another video for you all. Today I'm going to be discussing self-care as a form of submission. Now I have talked about self-care previously on my channel, namely as a form of or a supplement to aftercare, and I still think that's completely true. I think there are a lot of situations where people are at parties or are with partners or something like that where aftercare is not ideal, or they're not able to do the kind of aftercare that they want. Some people also really just like spending time with themselves and calming down by themselves after a scene, and self-care can be a great way to supplement aftercare when you are no longer with your partner after a scene because you experience drop a few days later or something like that. I still think all of that is great, and I don't want anybody to be confused in this video. I'm not trying to say that we should have self-care replace aftercare. I'm not saying that everybody should do self-care. I'm not saying it's necessary or anything like that. I'm just trying to offer up an idea, and if it works for your relationship, great, and if not, that's also great. You get to decide what your DS looks like and what you actually want to do with care and everything like that in your relationship. But I do think self-care is really important, and I think we should consider incorporating it into our DS dynamics, incorporating it into our negotiations, our protocol, our rules, our structure, the way that we do our dynamics, spoken or unspoken. I think it is a great tool to have, both as a submissive and as a dominant. Obviously, I will be talking mostly about submissives in this video and how it relates to them, but being able to do your own self-care as a dominant can be a really great tool as well, although I think with dominants, self-care is more expected than it is of submissives. But why would submissives ever need self-care in the first place? Isn't a DS relationship all about the partners caring for each other and completing all of their needs? Not really. I think for me and how I think about good submission and how I think about good DS, and I've talked about this in my video titled, I think, Submission is Not a Substitute for Adulthood, where submission is not a place where you go into it thinking, I have to give all of my soul to another person, or I need to have all of my power handed over to somebody else because I can't handle it on my own, but rather saying, I am self-sufficient, I can take care of myself, I believe in myself, but despite that, and in fact, in light of that, I trust you to take care of me. I trust you to have control over my submissive heart. I trust you to receive my service with gratitude, or to take care of me and know what is best for me even when I don't know that for myself. But coming from a place of knowing that you have autonomy, knowing that you have control over your life, knowing that if you need to, you can take care of yourself, but giving up that power still to somebody else. I think that is what makes really powerful DS and what makes safe DS. I think it's hard to have a good BDSM relationship that is focused one way or another on a person not being able to take care of themselves, or being so completely selfless in the relationship that they get run over by their partner, even if that is what they negotiated for. Anyways, I don't want to get too much into that because I know everybody has different forms of relationships, but that is how I think of it in my head. I think it's a powerful tool to get to that point where you know that you are self-sufficient, that you know you're taking care of yourself, and that is why you're able to give up power in a healthy and safe way, because you can always fall back on yourself. But beyond that, when you're already in a DS dynamic, when you are already in a relationship with somebody that has some degree of power exchange, be that a full-time 24/7 MS relationship or a weekend-only, mostly vanilla, but sometimes in the bedroom DS relationship, anywhere on that particular spectrum, I think, can benefit from this. But how can you make self-care a submissive act? Like many things in BDSM, this is really all about putting it in the right frame of mind and going into it with the spirit of it being part of your DS dynamic. Because really, when you're submissive and you're giving up power to another person and you're giving somebody control and some say over your life, to any degree, you are saying, you have control over me. To some extent, I am your thing. I am owned. I am controlled. You have power over me. Thereby, I should take care of this thing that you have. I should make sure that this thing that you have is in good shape, is healthy, gets enough sleep, whatever it is that you're wanting to have as a form of self-care. That can be an act of submission because you're saying, I care about this thing that is yours. D-type title here. I will promise to take care of this thing, even if I sometimes need to go to you for help, or if you're not available for help. Please know that this thing that you have control over will be okay, and it's not your entire worry and your entire burden to make sure that all of my needs are taken care of, or that I am being healthy and safe, because I am able to do that to some extent by myself, and I will take care of this thing. And to me, that is really powerful. It's a very, very powerful statement. I don't know how anybody else feels about it, but what are some forms of self-care that you could do that you can bring into a DS dynamic? I know especially on Tumblr, you get this image of self-care and aftercare especially that's like, you know, sucking on a pacifier and watching Disney movies and eating ice cream and cuddling up with a blanket. And all those can totally be self-care in the right situation. But self-care is really just taking care of your body and doing what you know is best for yourself. Be that making sure you are going to sleep and waking up at a certain time, making sure you're not taking too many naps, making sure that you keep up with taking all of your pills when you're supposed to be taking them, making sure that you are successfully, or at least attempting to, manage any particular illness that you have, or any sort of anxiety or depression or anything that you're currently dealing with, making sure that you are staying on top of it and not letting it control you as best you can. Mental health and BDSM is a really complicated topic, but working towards being your best self, taking care of your body and your mind, be that with making sure you take regular breaks from studies so your mind has a chance to rest, making sure you are going to all of your classes so you can continue to be educated and learn, making sure that you are wearing clean clothes and keep up with your laundry and change your bedding so that way you are clean and taken care of, making sure you're showering and brushing your teeth and flossing every day like you should, making sure that you're maintaining some kind of body hair routine if that is part of your dynamic, making sure that you are eating good foods to the best of your financial ability to do so, making sure you are drinking enough water, making sure that you're locking your doors at night, making sure that, you know, yada yada yada. Basically anything that you would do to be your best self can be a form of self-care. And especially when you are dealing with situations where you're a submissive and you're dealing with anxiety, depression, BPD, chronic illness, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, it can be exhausting to just remember to get out of bed, to just remember to brush your teeth, to shower, to put fresh clothes on. I get it. It can be totally exhausting. But nobody said self-care is easy. That's what makes it so profound and what helps make it an act of submission. If it was just something that everybody did all the time and was great at, what would be the point of incorporating it into a BDSM relationship? If people remembered it like they remember how to breathe or how to blink their eyes, then it's not really a submissive act. But because it takes effort, because you have to be active in doing self-care, you have to be conscious and consistent about it, that is what helps enforce it as part of a potential BDSM dynamic or as part of an existing relationship. Now, if you want to know how to bring in self-care to a relationship or how to incorporate it into an existing dynamic, I have a ton of videos about BDSM structure, introducing BDSM relationships, how to negotiate for all that stuff. I will put links to as many of those videos as I can down in the description box. So if you want to see those, check them out because I really think that will help form a complete picture to this video. What I would want to say in summary here is, again, self-care can be so important as a submissive, but it's not something that a lot of people talk about. Being able to take care of yourself and to some extent be able to be reliant on yourself is incredibly powerful, and you should take the time to learn how to take care of yourself, both as somebody who wants to potentially be in a DS relationship and be able to go into that safely, but also as somebody who wants to be able to give up power to their dominant, to be able to take care of themselves as this thing that their dominant owns. Because really, if you're not taking care of yourself as a submissive, or you are harming yourself in some way, you're harming something that belongs to your dominant, and that is generally not a great thing. So I would just keep that in mind. And I would really encourage you, even if you're not in a DS relationship, to consider looking more into being dedicated to self-care, because I think it's something that everybody could benefit from on any side of the slash, in or out of a DS relationship. It can be an amazing thing, and it can be so helpful for so many people, because we don't talk about it, and we don't talk about taking care of our bodies the way that we should. Anyways, that is where I'm going to wrap things up today. If you guys have any comments or questions, please feel free to put that down in the comment section below. If you want to see more from me, I will have links to all of my social media down in the description box. If you liked this video and you want to see more like it, you can subscribe to my channel. I make videos twice a week. If you want to help support this channel and see more videos like this one and help me be able to do more live streams and have access to exclusive videos and content and stuff like that, do check out my Patreon. I will link to that down in the description box as well. I have been absolutely amazed with your guys' support recently. It has just been amazing. So thank you guys so much for supporting this channel. And until I see you next time, have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.